Okay, everybody, good morning. My name is Elizabeth DeMars, and I'm Chairman and CEO of TheStreet. I'm very happy to be here this morning, and thank you all so much for coming over for breakfast, and thank you so much to Adweek for the tremendous support that you're giving to the NewFronts and to TheStreet, and also to Randy Rothenberg and his entire team over at the IAB for doing such a great job advancing the industry and looking to the future. It's just fantastic what this NewFronts is all about. It's been a great 2 weeks. I'm just bowled over by the energy that I felt over the past 2 weeks, and it's just fantastic to have 80 people here in the room. The future of digital video is very, very bright, and TheStreet is excited to be right in the middle of it. So, about TheStreet. TheStreet brand is an enduring one that has experienced the peaks and valleys of being a digital media franchise for 2 decades. Today, we have re-electrified TheStreet in our franchise by committing our newsrooms to digital video optimized for social and mobile. None of the work that you will see today existed 2 years ago.
I started TheStreet.com because I felt that journalism itself was letting people down, didn't give you the insight that you needed in order to be able to make money. I wanted to make people better investors.
It's time to answer your Twitter questions. Here with Jim Cramer on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. What's going on with Whole Foods?
Holy cow, Whole Foods just seemed to go down. And I know people have been saying, someone on Twitter saying, listen, it's the time to buy Sprouts. I think Whole Foods at 50, you buy half right now. 3, 2, 1.
Good morning from the NASDAQ market site in Times Square. I'm Jane King for TheStreet.
Shake Shack is celebrating its initial public offering on the New York Stock Exchange.
What is your medium-term outlook for the Eurozone?
The future of U.S. energy policy highlighted opening discussions here at CERAWeek.
Welcome to Beyond Wall Street, where we look for the best business stories outside the confines of Wall and Broad Street.
Sotheby's is gearing up for an auction that could bring in over $100 million, including paintings, handbags, and jewelry.
The Hamptons becomes the playground of the rich and famous.
With the rise of robo-advisors, the cost of quality investment advice is plummeting, and that is great news for consumers.
Mark Field, CEO of Ford Motor, you're unveiling the Lincoln Continental concept car here.
Lincoln is core to our profitable growth plan.
The revenues do matter, the profits do matter.
Our strategy has always been and will remain sustainable organic growth.
I committed myself with the private sector in Costa Rica and with our investors, they would come to the United States.
Boardrooms are almost by definition very conservative.
All musicians have to think brand extension at this point.
I'm also a track athlete. I use my earnings from track to fund bobsled.
Try and get people interested in the game where it can be played faster, but also maintain the traditions of the game as well.
No one can reach the audience that we do. Who's the audience? The trigger pullers. The individuals who decide, you know what, I'm going to buy stock or sell stock, and they're wealthy enough to actually buy in size. They are the accounts that you want.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, historically, the stock market has returned 8%, but what we forget is very few years actually have an 8% overall return.
The pricing is relatively strong, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to continue that way.
March is where shopping goes to die, and it's really upsetting.
So if you're going to use your credit cards this holiday season, try to pay off the balance in full. It may be easier said than done.
The only thing that's luxury about Costco is the stock's valuation. The most important thing that our video and our other traditional products do is allow you to make an unbiased decision to make money. You watch our videos, you get great ideas, and you put the money to work.
Woo! So thank you very much. Well, I have a rule, which is never follow Jim Cramer, and here I am. He always looks so relaxed and debonair and knowledgeable, and I just look stressed. But anyway, that's our franchise, TheStreet, Jim Cramer. It's an enduring brand, and Jim, of course, is the founder of the company, and he's very involved in all of our efforts, including our digital video. Anyway, there's a hunger for trusted financial information, news, and advice. And I'm of the belief that the digital channel is really overstuffed with very mediocre content, particularly in the finance space. And And in today's multi-platform, cross-screen universe, your brands have to mean something. You need a clean, well-lit place to accompany your brand presentation. There's less brand loyalty than ever, and what we do at The Street is we give people purposeful viewing. And we have award-winning journalism that helps us do that. Purposeful viewing. Purposeful viewing is when our audience watches our video, reads our analysis, and turns to our unique trading technologies that are completely easy to use and pulls the trigger. Our audience are the wealthy, in-market consumers who are the trigger pullers and adept at cross-screen behavior. They get their ideas, their research, then they move to transactions and commerce. And again, we provide a clean, well-lit place for the finance passionistas. We launched our de novo operation 2 years ago under the leadership of Ruben Ramirez. We produce at scale 30 to 50 videos a day. Today you're going to meet our tremendous team of expert talent. I think a lot of you met earlier out on the terrace. And these are the people that are producing what I think and Jim thinks is the best content in the financial digital video vertical today. When you think about TheStreet TV, our engagement is phenomenal. First, of course, we're going to have 100% viewable in our inventory. We have a great playthrough rate. Our dwell time, very important, is 5 minutes, and it's been growing. And over half of our visitors are return visitors. So when you talk about engagement and the need for engagement in a trusted environment, that is where we are. We are in a new age also of what I'm going to call viewer empowerment. Viewers choose what they want to watch, when they want to watch it, how they want to watch it. And so it's not just time shifting, it's device shifting, and that means place shifting. That means in your line at the grocery store. So our video stack was conceived and built de novo for the future. And when it comes to video, the future of video is going to be mobile and social. So our video is consumable on dozens of platforms, and it's very easily shareable on social. Now, marketers today do vie for their customers' attention, and that means brands need to emotionally collect and socially energize their audiences and their customers. So digital video is the best medium today for doing that. It's personal, it's on the handheld, there is great intent, and TheStreet TV makes an emotional connection between our fantastic audience and your brands. Now I'd like to welcome and bring up our head of advertising, Patrick Dignan. Thank you.
Elizabeth, that was awesome. It's tough to follow Kramer, but it's tough to follow Elizabeth. Anyway, I want to say thank you to Ruben. Sorry, that's better. I want to say thank you to Ruben and his team for producing that great video. It was truly awesome. And that's me, Pat Dignan, head of advertising sales here at The Street. And it's wonderful to see familiar faces. Thank you all for coming out. It's awesome. And I really want to thank our partners that are in the room today. And because without your support for our great brand, none of this would happen. So thank you. I'm looking right at Francie. Thank you. Been here forever, with The Street since Kramer started in '96. So it's awesome. Okay, so from an ad sales perspective, I'm just going to click through 3 things to show you how we monetize. And the first one you're all familiar with is traditional pre-roll, where your brands can align, as Elizabeth was saying, emotionally with messaging from our multi-award winning content, financial content. Then the second is native advertising. We have a product called Brand View, and it's where we accept video from marketers with your messaging and run it within our environment, all well badged. And then also we can leverage the investment that Elizabeth's made in our TST studios, where we can actually create native videos and have our storytellers and producers kind of guide your messaging if you need that kind of support. And the third way we utilize video after it's been created is through custom ad units that we build leveraging a technology called Flight. So, and we've done that for several people in this room already, and it gives us the ability to use low to me to target across the site. So those are really the three ways that currently within our environment you could monetize video. I also want to give a shout out to a beta program that we're doing with Google. They have a select partner program. We're a participant. They're a great partner, and we're going to see how that beta programmatic platform works for video. So, okay, so coming to today, we're going to talk about, we're going to give you the opportunity to see some of the real money ideas we provide our audience through digital video on a daily basis. So in a few moments, I'm going to introduce that man right there, Ruben Ramirez. He's the head of our video, who will talk about his editorial philosophy, along with an overview of what TheStreet TV does on a day in and day out basis. So after that, we're going to be showing you our new lineup, our future lineup, if you will. We have planned today unveiling 4 new series from the talent in this row here that you also saw on the big screen. And then we're also going to do something very special. We're going to bring the brand to life in the room with a interview with a CEO, so you can experience firsthand what we do on a daily basis. So with that, I just want to say thank you for coming. It's much appreciated. And I want to introduce Ruben, the Rainmaker Ramirez, weighing in at 30 frames per second.
I don't think I'm making it rain, but at least I gave you a nice sunny day today. Thank you, Pat, and thanks to Pat and his team, who do a great job of showcasing TheStreet's editorial content and also highlighting our ability to create custom native content through TST Studios. As Elizabeth mentioned, I came to TheStreet 2 years ago, and I've always believed that our job as financial journalists is to really take ideas that may seem really complex and filter them so that they're easy to understand. That's what we really try and do at TheStreet. And that's, I really believe, why Jim Cramer started TheStreet 19 years ago. Every day, we all go into the office with the idea of wanting to create engaging and educational content. Elizabeth mentioned our terrific team. A lot of them are here in the room. If I could just ask all of you to stand. They're really some of the most passionate and enthusiastic people I've ever worked with. And after the presentation, you'll have a chance to meet them and talk to them and find out why they're so passionate about coming to work at TheStreet every day. I'd like to highlight our current programming and what we've been doing for the past 2 years. Our day starts every day at 6:30 a.m. and wraps up about 12 hours later. Take a look.
Good morning from the NASDAQ market site in Times Square. I'm Jane King for TheStreet. Coming up today, Symantec meets with investors. Honeywell rounds out this week's slate of earnings releases.
European stocks are mixed today ahead of a finance ministers meeting in Brussels.
I'm Karis Layev with today's opening bell.
Chipotle is looking tasty, plus LinkedIn and Apple all in today's analyst actions.
It's time to answer your Twitter questions here with Jim Cramer on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. Jim, we're getting a lot of great questions today.
Yes, we are, because people understand that you go to @JimCramer Twitter, and that's where I'm answering your stock questions, because I don't have enough characters in Twitter to be able to answer them fairly and squarely. This is where I'm going to do it from now on.
Brett, crowdfunding is a really interesting component of scoring.
I just thought it was an awesome addition to what we were already doing.
It's midday and several weak earnings have crushed Wall Street.
Let's take a look at some near-term levels. What are your ranges right now?
Looking for a raise at work? To get what you deserve, you have to ask for it. For Main Street, I'm Lauren Lyons-Cole.
Is that franchise model still intact looking out over the next couple of years?
Yeah, it absolutely is. You've got, I think, almost 20 million people working in the franchise industry.
Buy something that you like at a price you like, and then hold it for 20 years. And you should not look at it day to day. If you bought a farm or an apartment house, you wouldn't get a quote on it every day or every week or every month.
So you are marking the completion of the 500 millionth GM vehicle.
There's a lot going on, but yes, we are really now amping up our product rollout in the next few months.
Stocks had a stellar day and earnings were key to market moves, all in today's closing bell.
Wow, we've got something to watch next week that is just so important. It's the watch. We've got Apple.
The maker of Harman Kardon and JBL audio products fell 7% on Thursday, and the stock is TheStreet's move of the day.
For the latest financial news and updates from Wall Street, check back on The Street.
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 Thank you for watching The Street.
30 to 50 videos a day. That's 150 to 200 videos a week. Now, while we're deeply committed to continuing with our current programming lineup, we're also really excited about the future. We're really excited because we really want to cement The Street TV as the primary destination for retail investors to come to when they're surfing the web on their mobile devices or on their desktops. Now, I'd like to welcome to the stage Editor-at-Large for The Street and anchor of The Street TV, Rhonda Schaffler. Now, Rhonda, I know you've been working on a new series called Perspectives from Wall Street with Jim Cramer. And tell us a little bit about what you guys thought of when you were thinking of putting the series together. And how is this different than anything else that's already out there on the market?
So we did want to do something that's a little bit different and a little unique. And we wanted really to achieve two goals. One was to come up with actionable, real money ideas in a very concise way. And we also wanted to highlight the fact that investing is not one size fits all. So when Jim and I were talking, we came up with the thought of looking at just one area of the market and giving investment advice based on an individual's age. Because everyone is in the stock market, everyone should be in the stock market, but a 30-year-old should not be owning the same stock as a 60-year-old. So this is an approach that hasn't been done, and we're excited about it.
Great, thanks, Rhonda. Now let's take a look at Perspectives from Wall Street.
If you hold healthcare stocks in your portfolio, you've probably done quite well over the past year. The overall sector has surged 30% in the past 12 months. Biotechs have done even better, they're up 80%. But is it too late to get in and make money? We've got ideas on how to invest your money at any age, whether you're a millennial and willing to take on more risk or a retiree trying to preserve capital. Our Jim Cramer has one name every 30-year-old should own.
Halyard is a spinoff of Kimberly. It won't even come to play as a takeover, which ultimately it will be. For a couple of years, it was just spun off. But this is the new healthcare company that you'll all be hearing about. I would call it Horizon Pharma for medical devices. Horizon Pharma being a stock that just doubled basically in a couple months' time.
So what do you buy if you're a baby boomer or Gen Xer?
They could buy a Lear, which has, a best-in-class portfolio, which doesn't have a lot of debt, which is going to absolutely, grow the top line with, very low risk.
Low risk is even more important for the older investor who should own stocks like Pfizer or Johnson & Johnson.
In the healthcare field, where you see biotech is very interesting, it's very hot, valuations are very high, these kind of names, they chug out free cash flow every year. They return capital through buybacks, through increases of dividends. They have kept their balance sheets pretty nice. They're not the sexiest stories out there in the healthcare world, but especially for the situation you're talking about, I think they're very appropriate.
You can even play healthcare without buying a healthcare stock. Here's Jim's best idea of the week.
Okay, I think that they need to buy a stock that is the picks and pans, the so-called company that provides the miners with tools, and that's Thermo, TMO. Why? Because the biotech companies are so flush with capital, they all have to buy the equipment to develop the next drugs. Thermo Fisher is the one that has the equipment. They win no matter who wins in biotech.
And to recap, if you're a millennial, consider Halyard Health, ticker HYH. Baby boomers should research a Lear, ticker ALR. Older investors should look at Pfizer, ticker PFE, or Johnson & Johnson, ticker J&J. And Jim Cramer's pick of the week is Thermo Fisher Scientific, ticker TMO. And those are some perspectives from Wall Street. I'm Rhonda Schaffler in New York.
For 52 weekly segments a year covering a variety of different industries and topics. Now I'd like to welcome to the stage Scott Gamm. So Scott, tell us a little bit about Game Changers.
Well, Ruben, we wanted to create a show that highlights entrepreneurs who are doing something really special. We wanted to showcase ideas that have the potential to create a seismic change to business as usual. And you know, the idea for the show came out of where we are in the business landscape. If you look at the hotspots for young emerging talent, it's Silicon Valley. That's where they're going, not necessarily Wall Street. And, you know, we've all heard of the Zuckerbergs of the world, but there are plenty of names out there we haven't heard of. And the first CEO we spoke to was the CEO of Vimeo. And once you get to know these people, you'll really understand why these entrepreneurs are truly one of a kind.
Let's take a look at game changers.
Vimeo, the video sharing website, has always stressed quality, which has attracted the attention of filmmakers and video enthusiasts alike. But under the leadership of Kerry Trainor, who became CEO just 3 years ago, the company is now trying to get users to pay for some of its content.
If YouTube, if you will, is sort of the open internet version of broadcast television, right? It's mass, it's free to consume, it's supported by advertising. Vimeo is building the open internet version of premium cable, the open HBO, if you want to look at it that way.
But Vimeo is tiny compared to YouTube, which has more than 1 billion users and commands nearly 69% of the US online video market. Vimeo's market share is less than 1%. And of its 35 million registered users, 500,000 are paid subscribers. In an effort to boost that figure, Vimeo is adding more exclusive content, including 2 scripted series from YouTube. And according to the man leading that effort, Greg Clayman, that's gotten the attention of content producers. In addition, over the past year, Vimeo lured several high-profile YouTube stars by helping them cash in on their fame.
If you've got 1 million followers on YouTube, 2 million followers on YouTube, you know, to get 10, 20, 30,000 people who are willing to spend $10 for something, you can make $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 off of that, you know, one piece of content.
Vimeo has also invested in original programming. Its first series, High Maintenance, was just picked up by HBO. Vimeo is also very focused on mobile. About half of its visitors now access the site from their smartphones.
The ability to purchase content on the mobile device is just as simple as it is on the desktop. And I think one of the critical parts is you can purchase a piece of content from any device and you can watch it from any device. And you know, we feel like we're very well positioned for that emerging world.
Since Trainor joined the company in 2012, growth has soared. The number of employees has more than tripled, and the business has matured since Barry Diller's IAC Interactive bought Vimeo back in 2006.
It will really be the combination of free ad-supported experiences along with paid experiences is what the future is going to be, because that's what video already looks like.
Now I'd like to welcome Lauren Lyons-Cole, personal finance expert for TheStreet and certified financial planner. Lauren, so tell us a little bit about the idea behind Financial Fix.
So as Ruben said, I'm a certified financial planner. I work in New York City, and my clients are some of the brightest and also most interesting people you could ever meet. As you'll get a little glimpse into this episode, which there's a little bit longer version on our website, so if you're intrigued by the person, I would encourage you to go to the website, watch the full episode. One of my best clients. So with the Financial Fix, what we really want to do is entertain people so that they walk away learning by accident, right? Because personal finance, sometimes people's eyes glaze over. They don't always want to learn about 401ks and 529 plans. So hopefully with the Financial Fix, they learn about it, but also laugh at the same time.
Great, let's take a look.
Can a successful young professional who makes a living helping others and traveling the world finally become grounded when it comes to handling his money? I'm certified financial planner Lauren Lyons-Cole, and I'm about to give this jet setter a financial fix.
My name is CK Sweat. I live here in Brooklyn, New York. I'm originally from Sacramento, California. I'm a professional charity auctioneer. When it comes to my personal finances, I like to think of myself as a work in progress. Lauren, come on in.
I spent some time getting an overall sense of CK's finances. His only retirement account is a 401k from his last job, so he can't contribute to it. Replacing it is a top priority, and there's no time to waste. The April 15th tax deadline is just days away. All right, well, this is great. I've got a picture of how things are, but now you got to get all your papers together, and I will see you at my office.
I'm scared, but I don't think you're going to hurt.
CK, I'm so glad you're here. Why don't you tell me a little bit about why you want to do this financial planning session?
Right now, I am not being proactive in any sort of way to manage my own money. All there is impulse. It's waking up on a Tuesday and saying, oh, I don't have to be anywhere Friday through Monday. Let's go down to Trinidad and Tobago for the weekend and see what kind of mischief we can cook up.
What are you doing with the money you're earning?
Well, I spend it all. It comes in and then it goes right back out.
Fortunately for CK, his savings and net worth are well ahead of most 32-year-olds. And with 3 roommates, he spends just 9% of his income on rent, in a city where many spend up to 50%. So the key to CK's financial fix? Make things easier. Since CK did really well in 2014, he was able to sock away the maximum allowed and invest it in a target date retirement fund. It automatically changes its asset allocation mix as CK ages. In other words, easy investing. By auction night, all that was left to do was for CK to transfer money from his bank account to his new SEF. You are officially an adult. So, with his finances finally under control, CK let his hair down and got to work.
You got 15 right there, got 35, 45, 55, 65, 75 right there. 85. Thank you. We have some winning momentum. This is exciting. Thank you. So.
Financial fix. Now let's welcome Greg Greenberg from TheStreet.
I've been with TheStreet for over a decade. I'm very excited about this meeting. Every day I speak to CEOs of public companies, mutual fund managers, business authors, a lot of them that I'm sure you recognize. Every day I speak to CEOs who come on my show, talk about their businesses, talk about their plans for their businesses. But there's a certain CEO I really like it when they come over and visit us on the street. It's after they ring the bell at the stock exchange, because the stock exchange, actually, if you've ever been to our offices, and I certainly encourage you to visit and see how these videos are made. You can actually see how the sausage gets made. But so you can walk across the street from the New York Stock Exchange. You got to go through a lot of tourists, because especially when it gets nice. They come to our studio. They just rang the bell, and as you know, there's a lot of tech IPOs, because those are the hot ones. Those are the IPOs everybody wants. And they speak with us about the latest, greatest technology, the latest, greatest gadget, whether it be an iWatch or whatever. And they've reached the pinnacle of American capitalism. How cool is that? So they're all jazzed, they're excited. They come over and they chat with us on the street, and it's a dedicated interview. We're not stealing it off a TV program. We're going to speak to them. We're not going to interrupt. And they're excited, and they're still wearing their badges from the exchange. And sometimes, when we're lucky enough, we speak to gadget CEOs or tech CEOs even before they go public. So we can kind of tell which ones the hot ones are going to be, and you know as well. So today what we're going to do here is I'm going to speak to the CEO of Pivothead. His name is Chris Cox. I don't know whether or not he's going to come visit me after they've gone public, after they've rang the bell at the exchange, or even at the NASDAQ. They come down and visit us after they go on the NASDAQ as well. But we're going to talk a little bit about his business because it's pretty cool. So why don't you come up, Chris Cox. So Chris, Pivothead makes sunglasses where you can actually take videos. How did you come up with the Pivothead idea? Were you a big fan of James Bond? Because whenever he goes to Q, he gets those cool gadgets. Were you wanting to be a spy? Was that what started this whole thing?
So it was nothing to do about being clandestine or trying to be a peeping Tom or anything like that. It really boiled down to wanting a true point of view while your hands could be free to be doing what you wanted, and also to get away from behind the screen. So when you're recording moments that you want to remember, it's not so good if you're behind the interface of a 4-inch screen. So it really kind of allows you to be a participant in life and to be able to record or broadcast without the distraction of both a screen and tying up your hands.
Can you talk about the design for Pivot Head? Because when it comes to shades, it's got to be cool too.
Sure. So, you know, in our next generation, we've actually, it requires a couple hundred prototypes before you get to a style that actually works. And we actually have a very special challenge because you need to design it to encompass all of the electronics, and you need to consider power consumption, and a lot of different factors are involved. So here's our new release that's about to be launched, and you can see it's much more contoured, much slimmer, and a pretty cool pair of shades. That's, I think, a big improvement off of our first generation.
And who are some of the competitors in the space? Because you're not alone when it comes to being able to record on glasses. We've all heard about Google Glass, GoPro's out there. So talk about the size of the market.
Well, the size of the market is massive, and I don't think we have really one competitor necessarily. We have lots of overlap in different segments. So to some extent, we're also a competitor of a cell phone. So competing with them about, well, do you really need to be taking that out and recording video or broadcasting from your phone when there's a better tool out there to achieve the same thing? So there's certainly overlap with action cameras as well, but you know, with Pivot Head, it's more about a life cam instead of just directly an action cam. So there's overlap, but we also, I think, have the capability to make it much more mainstream than a mountable camera.
And where are you now with regard to sales and distribution? And where do you want to be by the end of 2015? What are your expectations?
So right now we're still pretty small. We've got our first generation out. We're under $10 million in sales. We're expanding into most of the Target stores towards the end of May. We are in some select Best Buy Mobile. We're in B&H Photo, Sammy's Camera, Willoughby's here in New York as well, and in various locations, I guess, around the world. So we've got pretty high expectations on what's coming next in terms of our growth curve with our next generation glasses, which actually becomes not just a device, but what we call a DAP, or device as a platform. So when you get the glasses, it comes with the ability to immediately configure your own broadcast channel within our pivotheadlive.tv network. And so basically, you've got one channel, one swipe of the glasses, and you're porting your broadcast directly to your channel, and you can share that around the world to all of your friends, family, and followers. So I think it's going to be pretty disruptive. It's not just a device, and we're expecting pretty fast growth.
All right, and then finally, what's next for the company? Do you need to raise more money? Do you want to sell the company? Or are you just going to keep working until you can come visit us over at TheStreet after you've rang the bell at the New York Stock Exchange?
Yeah, so right now we're kind of in final talks to raise our Series A round. We've made it this far without even raising that. So you know, we're pretty proud of that, but now it's time to really scale and grow. So we are bringing in some outside investment, and certainly the objective would be to come and ring the bell one day and talk to you again.
All right, well, thanks a lot for coming on, Chris.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for the glasses, right? These are mine?
Next time,
Oh, man.
I'll give them to you.
Well, thanks for coming.
Thanks, man, I appreciate
And
it.
now, they stole my glasses. And now I'm going to bring back Ruben Ramirez, and I think I'm going to sit right over here.
Yeah, Greg, sit tight.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks so much.
Excellent stuff.
We'll invite Rhonda and Scott and Lauren back up to the stage. So we wanted to ask you all just a couple of questions. Rhonda, I think we'll start with you. You're the newest member of the team. You worked at CNN. You were a fill-in anchor on Moneyline with Lou Dobbs. That's going back a little while. You were a correspondent there. You went on to anchor an afternoon show at Bloomberg, and you were at Reuters in your last job. Why come to TheStreet?
I think the question really is, why not come to TheStreet sooner? Because I truly believe, and I've believed for a while, that digital is the future. I mean, there's no question about that at all. And TheStreet has a digital a digital map, a footprint. They've been in the market for so long. They've got a great brand. I think what Elizabeth was saying was very important. Everyone knows the Street brand in financial journalism. People I dealt with know the Street brand. When I was telling people I was coming to the Street, whether it was money managers or PR firms, they were all like, oh, that's a great move. Because people know that digital is the future. I don't know many people who still watch news on TV. I have kids, they have never seen news on TV, even when I was on it. Now my mother doesn't even watch news on TV because she's an iPad. So I think this transformation is happening very quickly. And to be at a place where you have such a strong financial journalism presence, and there's no mixing of other things. That's what we do, that's what we're going to continue to do, and we're going to do it better than anyone else.
Now, Greg, tell us a little bit about the evolution of the Street. You've been there a little bit more than a decade.
Yes, I am the not so grizzly veteran of the Street. Yeah, I've been here at a decade, and I've seen the evolution of video on the Street. When I first started, we used to put up, it was a green sheet behind us, and when a fund manager would come in, I'd speak to the fund manager, and we'd go back and forth. And then we moved into Kramer's old Westwood One radio station. He had a little booth in our office. And as more people kept watching these videos, and they just kept coming and coming, we built our own studio, and then we upgraded the studio under Elizabeth, and now it's a great technologically advanced place. I don't know what they're pushing back there with the things and the things and the things, but we make great dedicated videos. Once again, we're not going to interrupt a video because there's breaking news. Our guests come, we speak to the guests. We love speaking to the CEOs and the fund managers. And they love coming on the Street. And I certainly encourage you to ask anyone in the PR space or the investor relations space what they think about the Street. And they're going to tell you that they love sending guests to us because it's a great experience.
Now, Lauren, you're a certified financial planner. You've got your own successful financial planning business. You're also doing work with us at the Street. Tell us a little bit about why you're so passionate about personal finance.
Well, I think we can all relate to this. Money is really about choices, and anything we want to do in life, whether it's traveling or starting a business or buying an apartment in New York City, which is very challenging, you really have to be smart with your money. But a lot of people don't learn about money or aren't interested in learning about money. I happen to have grown up with a grandmother who didn't read books to me. She read the stock pages in the newspaper to me. So I've been around the concept of money since I was a child. And the one thing I can say is that it's really not that hard. My grandmother was reading the stock pages to me, but she didn't go to college. And she was completely self-taught from watching people like Jim Cramer. And it's really very accessible for people. So if we can break down those walls, that moment of feeling so overwhelmed and frazzled, and I see this with clients all the time where they have this light bulb moment. And there's really nothing for me more satisfying than that, and especially when they finally buy that apartment or finally take that vacation that's long overdue. So,
Scott, you started blogging about money at 17. You wrote a book that was published a couple of years ago. Why are you so interested in business at such a young age?
Well, I was coming of age at a time when the world was experiencing the financial crisis back in 2008, and I saw this growing up. My parents divorced largely over financial arguments. And as a kid, I was frustrated that there weren't enough resources for young people to learn about money. So I started blogging about some of these issues, ended up writing this book. We report on these topics every day on the Street about millennials and money. And even 7 years after the financial crisis, they're doing a better job at saving, but they're still not invested as much in the stock market. And they're missing out on some huge returns. So there's a lot of work left to be done when it comes to getting millennials back on track when it comes to their finances.
And there is one person that's missing from the panel. That's Jim Cramer, who's a huge part of our video operation. But he is unfortunately on the air at CNBC right now. So we did record a little video with him just to give you a flavor about how he feels about digital video.
I think our video at The Street is definitely the industry leader. And that is because we try to tell stories that come alive through multiple videos, all of which are incredibly high quality. Look at most of the videos. They're just kind of thrown together on the web. How about an actual professional video that's made by terrific people that gets to the point immediately and really tells an amazing story? To do that and to do it higher than TV quality, that's what The Street's doing. Our video product gets to the point immediately. It's authoritative, it's actionable, and I've got to tell you, I think it is definitely peerless. I look at a lot of video on the web about stocks, and wow, I mean, get to the point already. We are punchy. We are recognized, I believe, as being just a really authoritative product. And you know what? I love watching our videos. I love watching because I'm learning. And a lot of people feel I know so much. No, I learn from all our videos. I think the outlook for video is incredibly positive. It's why and how people go to their cell phone to be able to get their information. I think people just are so driven by video, short videos now, that they're the most compelling thing about investment advice. Now, I never would have thought that when we started The Street, but I've got to tell you, you want to know how people get their information? They get them through our videos.
So we would like to open it up to questions if anybody has any for any of us. Yes.
Business and financial news is normally considered the province of somewhat older adults. So what are you seeing in terms of your coverage and traffic patterns, those kinds of things?
If you look at the numbers, I mean, millennials are one of the most socially engaged generations, and The Street has a really powerful social media platform. We have hundreds of thousands of followers across Facebook, across Twitter, and our videos, our content are being fed through those channels, and that's where millennials are. So we feel we're reaching millennials, and certainly the content we're creating not only caters to the traditional institutional and retail investors, but young people who want to learn about money. They're frustrated that they just can't get the right information, and that's what we're trying to accomplish at The Street.
Any other questions? Okay, great. Well, thank you all so much.
I feel attractive to millennials, but 10 years ago I felt more attractive.
Thank you all so much. Let's welcome back Elizabeth.
Once again, I have to follow Jim Cramer and the handsome Ruben Ramirez. I just can't catch a break. Oh, good grief! So it's been a complete pleasure to host you today, and we're so thrilled, Randy and your team, to have been invited to present at the IAB NewFronts. We look forward to seeing you all next year. So enjoy the rest of your day. We still have coffee and everything out on the terrace, and it's a nice day. You can take your suit jackets off now. But make sure that you pick up your wearable, which is either a GoPro camera or a pivot head sunglasses as you leave to go to your next meeting. And thank you so much for everything, and have a great day. Okay.